Good morning, everyone. Hello to those joining us live here in Vilnius, and hello to those watching us online. I am delighted to invite you to the second day of Green Lithuania conference. Once again, my name is Rugilė Matusevičiūtė, and I will guide you through today's program, which is filled with very exciting speakers and hopefully your interactions and questions as well. First of all, a few remarks. If you're watching us online, we kindly ask you to put the country of your origin, then your name and your last name on your name on the Zoom so we can clearly see who is asking the questions. And regarding the questions, we invite you to write down questions in the chat box all throughout the conference, or you can write down that if you have a question, we can unmute you and you can ask the question live here at the conference because we can see all of you through the screens. Now, to kick off the day, it is my pleasure to introduce Gvidas Dargužas, Director of the Environmental Project Management Agency under the Ministry of Environment of Lithuania. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Dargužas here on stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear friends, good morning. Welcome back to the second day of our conference. First of all, I would like to thank you for all of these participants who participated yesterday and we are here today. I'm happy to see some partnership and collaboration that started yesterday. So that's what it is, all this conference about. Lithuania is honored to organize this event, this conference. We are proud of our results and reduce plastic waste. It's a global problem all around the world, so it's don't have any borders and affect our ecosystem, our health, our future generations, and I'm happy that we are together as a community working on that to solve all these problems. So in Lithuania, we are proud of our results. We are proud of our deposit system, which started in 2016. So, and we achieved very good results, and about 90% of bottle waste and plastic waste are recycled. Yesterday, we heard very good presentations from representatives who are working with regulations. Today we will go deeper. We will go deeper into innovative solutions, into practical actions. We will talk and we will have presentations from practicals who are working every day with this and solve all these problems, issues, and try to find some solutions in everyday life. Together, I think that we can create cleaner, greener, healthier planet. So I wish you all have a nice and interesting and useful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we will start today's program by dwelling into the topic of Deposit Refund System in Lithuania, from establishment of the administrator to the changing of the behavior of the citizens. And about this topic, speaking today, we have two speakers, actually. So first of all, I'm here inviting on stage President of the Lithuanian Brewers Association, Gintaras Varnas. Oh, sorry, it is... Oh, I'm very sorry. I have an issue with the Director of PI Administrator of the Deposit Refund System. Is that correct? Do we have that first? Yes, Gintaras Varnas on stage. So sorry again.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about our deposit system. And today I want to focus mainly on the practical aspects of deposit system, what it's all about, how it works, how it was created, etc. So, firstly about deposit system operator, about our company setup, let's say. First of all, I need to say what we are not a profit company. we are established by industry. We have 3 shareholders, Lithuanian Brewery Association, Lithuanian Retailers Association, and Lithuanian Mineral Water Producers Association. So 3 associations, they have equal shareholding, each owns 1/3 of the company shares. And members of those 3 associations represent industry, and I would say majority of the industry. Members of association like breweries, like water producers, like soft drink producers put to the market more than 90% of volumes in the deposit system. And retailers association, members of retailers association, of course, represent shops, collection points, and members collect like 90% or more of all collected volumes in deposit system. So it is true to say what we really owned by the industry. The industry makes all the decisions how the system should be run, what investment should be done, etc. And we have only one purpose. We only take care of deposit packages. The company was founded in year 2014, as was mentioned in the previous presentation. What the law for the deposit system was approved in year 2014, May. Company was established in year 2014, August, and system was launched in year 2016, February. Yeah? So we have approximately 1.5 years for set up the system, to create all collection points, to create all logistic, IT, recycling solution, etc. Yeah. What deposit system covers in Lithuania? We have 3 packaging types, PET, metal cans, and glass bottles. And I want to say what this company, the system USAT, we are responsible for only one-way deposit packages. And when we're talking here about glass, I'm talking about one-way glass packages. But in Lithuania, we have on parallel also refillable bottles and deposit system for refillable bottles, and Saulius will talk more about this. Yeah. Also, second slide related, explaining what is part of a deposit system. So the legislation also describes categories of beverages which are part of a deposit system. Yeah. So basically, we have all low alcoholic beverages, beer, ciders, and other low alcoholic drinks, and all non-alcoholic drinks, water, juices, soft drinks, etc. So if you are a producer and if you are selling those products in PET, can, or glass, you have legal obligation to participate in deposit system. You have no other option just to be part of a system. Annual volumes of one-way deposit package is approximately 740 million bottles are put to the market every year. So now about system participants. So basically we have two industries having legal responsibilities in the deposit system. So one industry is retailers. They have 2 main responsibilities. One responsibility is to charge retail consumers deposit value when they sell beverages. And deposit value in Lithuania for any type of a deposit bottle, doesn't matter size, doesn't matter package type, is always 10 euro cents. So every time the retailer sells, let's say, a bottle of water, we charge 10 euro cents additionally. On the shelf, consumer can see the price of a product, and separately on the same label, it is separated value of a deposit. It's always written what consumer pays, paying 10 euro cents. So one obligation, and the other obligation, most serious, let's say, obligation is for retailers is what they are obliged to take back empty deposit package from consumers and pay back deposit. with some exemptions. Yes, we have exemptions in Lithuania. What in big cities, like for example in Vilnius, all retailers which have retail space, having retail space more than 300 square meters, they have obligation to accept. They have no choice. They just have all to accept bottles from consumers. Of course, smaller retailers don't have obligations, but they have a right to participate in the deposit system. They have a right to accept bottles from consumers, and then the deposit system is obliged to also to make agreements with them, etc. And I would say what even there are exemptions, but still retailers, even smaller retailers, have real motivation to be part of a system because of competition. Imagine what some retailer is not taking bottles back because of this exemption. So what consumer does, he goes to bigger retailer, to other retailer, returns bottles, but then this consumer probably also buys products in this retailer. So there is competition, and even with this certain exemptions, we see what retailers still want to participate and to collect. So bigger cities have exemption level 300 square meters, and smaller cities and villages has exemption of 60 square meters. And how this obligation result in practical terms? So in Lithuania, which is actually a small country, 2.8 million people, we have 1.1 thousand locations with reverse vending machine installed, automated collection points. We have 1.5 thousand collection points of manual collection points. And we also have agreements. We also provide service to HoReCa. HoReCa, we're not accepting, of course, bottles from consumers from the street, but HoReCa naturally have bottles because they're selling beverages, and bottle stays with HoReCa, so we provide service. We come and pick bottles from them, and we pay deposit. So, but real collection points is about 2.5 thousand locations in Lithuania. Of course, majority of collection happens in locations with reverse vending machine. More than 90% is collected here. I need to say that this collection infrastructure is really convenient to consumers. It covers all Lithuania territory. It covers all Lithuania small and bigger cities. And when we make consumer survey, we really point out what convenience is really good. So we have really good opportunities, a lot of locations, a lot of convenient locations, because we're visiting stores anyway to buy some products. So that is one of the success factor of actually deposit system in any country. So sometimes people think what having deposit value, money is already motivates consumers to return bottles. Yes, it's true, but it also depends on convenience. If there is good convenience, so you will have good results, and vice versa. If you have deposit system but you don't have convenience, imagine what in Lithuania we would have just one collection point, for example, in Feria. Well, this deposit value would not motivate consumers to go from Vilnius to this, or to from villages to Vilnius to bring bottles. So you need also convenience. On the same note, I think it makes point here to mention what deposit system is a little bit different from this traditional container or separate sorting system in that terms what industry, producers, importers and retailers really care about the system efficiency, convenience, etc. Because it's easy to understand what, if, for example, if in some country container system is not working well, or maybe even not existing, it has no impact on sales of beverages, it has no impact on sales of meal products, etc. Because consumers do not connect the container system to sales. But here it's a little bit different, because consumer pays deposit for beverages, and if he is not able to get back deposit easily and conveniently, it is additional cost for consumer, and it can have direct impact on consumers' decision to buy less or more products. So really, in this system, is good from that perspective. What producers really care what the system works well. And that's why, coming back to the ownership structure, yes, we have three shareholders: Brewer Association, Water Producers Association, and Retailers Association. I need to say what we have very big involvement of producers in our council. We have, of course, directors or presidents of all three associations, but we also have general managers of the main biggest producers in Lithuania, like Carlsberg, like Coca-Cola, like Kalnapilis from Royal Brew, etc. Yeah, so that illustrates what industry really cares about the system and really is involved very much. So now the second industry which has really big legal obligation coming from deposit law is, of course, producers. Deposit system is similar like any other package organization, like Green Dot, like container system in Lithuania, but also like in other European countries, because we all know what there is a directive and producers have producers' responsibility for their package. Yeah, so that's why they are so much focused in this legislation. The main legislation says is, of course, the main part is participating in the deposit system and pay for it. Yeah, so producers have to finance the system. What is a little bit different from this separate sorting system is what the deposit system needs to have special marking. Yeah, so producers have to in all deposit countries, producers have to mark their bottles with deposit logo, so that consumers understand what this product is participating in the deposit system, and they have certain rights to get deposit back. Producers also have to register each products in deposit system before they want to and before they start to sell, because naturally reverse vending machines need to be programmed to know what certain package is part of the system. Yes, so we have packaging register of barcodes and codes. We have packaging register of different shapes, etc. Yeah, and producers, of course, have to also to charge deposit value. So every system participating in deposit system is related to deposit money flow. Producer charging, retailer charging, consumer when returning deposit package charging. So every time some transaction happens with deposit bottle, always deposit money is following. What are results? The results are really good, of course, in deposit system in Lithuania. Not only Lithuania, I would say what in all countries where is deposit system running, result is very, very similar. I need to say what deposit systems in all Europe, at least countries, every time they reach 90%, something like 90% plus minus, or usually more than 90%. And I think alternative packaging collection system is never reaching 90% for beverage bottles. I need to say what the alternative system, container system, is really very important. It's actually, in my opinion, it's even much more important versus deposit system, because we're covering much bigger packaging scope, etc. But due to some natural and objective reasons, we are never able, and I think will never be able to collect this high volume of 90%. One of the reasons being what beverage are consumed very often and so often outside household, outside HoReCa, in streets, in parks, in forests, and you know, it is the main littering and part of the littering nature, and yeah. So we're achieving results every year, as you see, very stable, 90%. System was launched in year 2016. We received 74% in first year, but first year I would evaluate also return rate was 90% because 74% is just nominal number. Yes, and you need to take into consideration what first year you need to fill the supply chain with packages, to fill retail stores, to fill retail warehouses, to fill consumers' coolers at home. So actually, first year sales is not consumption. It's consumption plus filling of a pipeline. And pipeline, supply chain pipeline is approximately 1 or 2 months of all annual sales. So if you evaluate in real terms what was the real consumption and what is the real and real return, we know statistics. So we can also show what first year return rate is 90%. Yeah, I also maybe need to say what Lithuania is a little bit special case, because the deposit system is was not when it was launched, was not like very big news for consumers, because we had deposit system, which Saulis will talk later, for refillable glass bottles for many years, and this refillable glass system, the deposit system was also very effective. Collection rate was also close to maybe 90%, over 90%, even without reverse vending machine. So Lithuania was a little bit in the kind of good position, because consumers already knew the system, already was, accused to this logic, to what the deposit bottles needs to be returned back to the shop. So it's a little bit maybe more difficult first year could be for new countries, but still it's nothing very, sophisticated for consumers to be participant of a system. Yeah. So this was our result from year 2016 to this year. Yeah, we collected almost 5 billion containers, or almost 200,000 tons. And imagine what, maybe coming back a little bit to this slide. Yeah, so before, what was before, and before we had this container system, for PET bottles, statistics was at that time, collection rate was something like 43%. And now imagine what from these billions containers, or every year we are putting to the market in Lithuania almost 1 billion containers. And if only 1/3 of those containers are collected and recycled, so meaning what each year maybe 500 million containers in Lithuania is not collected, is not recycling, is polluted. So it's even for this small country, it's huge, big numbers, yeah, of pollution. So I need to say what deposit system was really having huge impact for Lithuanian pollution and environmental agenda. What's also good side effect or direct effect, how you want to see it, from deposit system is what collected materials are really of much higher value, let's say, or higher value versus traditional sorting system, because they are not contaminated. They are collected separately from other waste packaging or waste streams. They are not dirty. They are not contaminated with some other plastics or papers or etc. And as a result, recyclers are willing to pay higher value for the materials. I can say what, we collect per year approximately 12,000 tons of PET, about 12,000 tons of glass, and about almost 5 tons of aluminum. And for example, aluminum, 5,000 tons. Biggest aluminum recycler in the world, Novelis company at the moment, is our recycler. He is willing to come to Lithuania and to offer best price possible for our aluminum and to recycle it. But we are so small for them. Imagine what our annual volume we collect per year. We ship to recycling plant to Germany. We can recycle our annual volume in 1 day. Yeah, so we are very small for them, but they're still willing to offer us a good price and really have a big motivation to take our aluminum because it's very high quality. Let's say it is not contaminated with different type of aluminum, different type of contamination, etc. The same goes for PET. For PET, we are not big country. We are not collecting a lot, just 12,000 tons per year, and for and standard maybe size of aluminum recycling plant is something like 20,000 tons and more. But the biggest PET recycler in Europe was willing to come to Lithuania to make investments, more than 10 million euro invested to the recycling plant, and they are recycling all our material, and of course we need to buy more just to fill their plant. Easy to recycle back to the bottles. Well, aluminum is recycled back to aluminum cans. Easy. Glass, we are selling to Lithuanian two glass factories. They recycle all our glass, and of course they produce glass bottles again. For PET, we have this big change in Europe and also in Lithuania. What is from next year we have requirement of 25% to have recycling content in the bottles. Yes, and what we did in Lithuania is we have agreement with PET recycler what they recycle to material we need for new bottle production. And then we have first right to buy, yes. And when this material, we don't have obligation to buy, but we have first right for preferable good condition of price to buy this material back and to put to our bottles. And when we share this option or this right to producers, to our system participants, based on their market share, how much they put to the market, and they are able, and they actually have an access to good value and good quality material, and they are able to, they have a good position to, how to say, to fulfill the legal requirements to have this 25% or more percent in their bottles. This process starts from next year, and actually already started, yes, and we see what maybe 20–40% of recycled content can be next year in Lithuanian bottles. So we will have like closed loop bottles produced in Lithuania, will sold in Lithuania, collected in Lithuania, recycled in Lithuania, and minimum CO2 footprint and cycle economy. So ideal scenario. And last but not least, of course, the main probably participant of a deposit system, of course, is consumer. We have 2.8 people living in Lithuania. We making surveys, so like 90%, 95% of people in Lithuania using constantly the system. And relating to the thing I mentioned, what industry and us are very much interested what the system is attractive and convenient to consumer. So we have just a few maybe figures from our surveys, which we do every year. This is not actually the latest survey. This is from last year. So when I say here what 93% of consumers answered what they are satisfied, how the system is functioning, convenience and tools, etc. Latest survey which we received just this week is this number is 95%. This is very high because there's always skeptics, there's always people not happy. Yeah, so normally it's extremely high result. This second number, 93% of consumers say what they really see the difference, what the littering is less. It's still very high number, but it's a little bit reducing maybe every year because we started in the beginning maybe 97–98%, but now it's maybe dropped to 93%, still a very high number. But I need to say what the system is running already almost 10 years, and people already forgot, and people do not imagine anymore how the streets and parks can be littered with bottles, because we never see bottles anymore on the streets. And I think this is also very important number. 96% of consumers say what deposit system is really necessary. And this question was asked before the system decision back in year 2000, maybe 13. I think Ministry of Environment was doing survey, and at that time also majority of consumers told what they would really support the deposit system introduction in Lithuania. But one thing is, to say what yes we support because I'm environmental friendly, but the other thing is what when you're living with deposit system, when you have to pay deposit, when you have to to collect bottles at home, and when you have to bring bottles back to the shops, maybe you will not be so happy anymore, yes, because it is additional burden for you. But we are really happy what even with this actually additional burden, consumers and people in Lithuania, 96% of people say what it was a really good decision, what the system was implemented in Lithuania. Yeah. So, good side effect is system is maybe also contributing to environmental awareness and environmental education of people. 80% of consumers say what the deposit system somehow impacted their decision to sort also other packages better. Yeah. So, yeah. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Varnas. Do we have any questions from the audience? No. Oh, we have one. Okay, can we bring the microphone to the gentleman over here? Yes, our team is bringing the microphone, so 1 second.
Yeah, hello, so Vidas from APFA. I would like to ask you one question. What future development do you see for deposit system as a deposit system owner? Maybe some other bottles included in that system, maybe some plastic package and so on. So what future development you see in?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Really good question, and very often asked. And I would say what, of course, the deposit system will be developing, I see, in the future, but not in terms of scope, but in terms of convenience, in terms of, for example, we still have receipts. The consumer, when returns bottle, get the paper receipt, which they need to use in the shop, and that I will see will change. It's actually already changing, but it will change completely. What the receipt will be in future, maybe not needed anymore. It will be maybe new, more convenient reverse vending machine, like we already starting this year installing new generation machines where you don't need to put bottle by bottle, but you can put already like 100 bottles from your sack, etc., etc. But in terms of scope, additional packages, I don't see in future what we needed, because I already mentioned what the deposit package is really good for for beverage bottles, for light bottles, for especially maybe for PET and cans, and for the products which are really very often consumed outside. But for products which are consumed at home, at HoReCa, and similar, I see really big future what the container system should be working really well, even maybe the same or better than the deposit system. Because it is not possible, it's never possible to put everything to deposit system, to ask consumers to bring everything to the shops. It would be crazy, and it's never, not in every country happening, or even in some dreams, yeah. I see what future is fixing and improving to 100% green dot system, container sorting system.
Yes. Oh, perfect. I don't need to think of questions myself. Okay, so we have 2 more questions.
Yes, hello. My name is Jordis. I'm from Riga, from Latvia, from Waste Management Association. And actually, I was just staying in the hotel, so I didn't know that there will be a conference. But actually, I have the same question about, you have some plans to add some additional waste stream? Because in Latvia now we have the pilot project, voluntary deposit system for electronic cigarettes and also batteries. And we want to make some small dream to take care of one of the actually hazardous waste stream, which is battery and electronic cigarettes. And we recognize that our pilot project is working actually, and consumers want to give them back. So it's probably, if you have some ideas to make additional waste stream, we can make some pilot projects here also. So yeah.
So, yeah, so really good initiative, and I really also see what, like, especially for batteries, for me, it's always, you know, when I imagine what people throwing away batteries, it's really bad for the environment. I would say what deposit system logic, of course, can be not, we have no monopoly for deposit system logic, yes, because deposit system can be also useful and working for other streams, but not necessarily in the same infrastructure. It can be like parallel infrastructure, yes. So yes, we really would be, we are open to share our know-how, our logic, and see how it can be helping other packaging streams. But I don't see a vision what in this reverse vending machine can be put batteries, because it's a completely different technology, yes? So can be parallelly, of course. Yeah.
The system actually works in almost the same way. We have almost the same terminal. It's only the smaller one, like this table. And actually, when you are putting in these batteries and electronic cigarettes, we have application, and you have different kind of bonuses in application. And at this moment, because it's voluntary, you can change different kind of bonuses for free coffee, free cinema ticket. Also, these car sharing companies are involved in, and you give some free minutes to drive with the car sharing companies. So we are just testing this pilot, but we recognize it really works, and we just need to a little bit think about behind the wall and go a little bit like we just need to be a little bit proactive to take care about these waste streams, different kind of waste streams. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the question and the comments. I think we have a few more questions in the audience. Yes, one here.
Thank you. My first question is technical. You mentioned deposit logo. Is there like a unified design approved by the regulator that all producers are obliged to use? And this is for the locally produced beverages. And how about imported beverages? How does this deposit logo works with imported beverages?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yeah, and yes, I can confirm what each, already told what each package participating in deposit system is legally obliged to put a deposit logo, and deposit logo is approved by Ministry of Environment, and there are some certain standards of size, requirements, and colors, etc. So all producers have to, produced and imported beverages should bear this logo. Regarding importers, yeah, so basically two options. So one option, if you are importing, I need also to say one thing, yes, to a little bit make this question broader. So I think in all countries, but at least in Lithuania, there is legal requirements to have information on the label in local language. Yeah, so already labeling of all products, including beverages, is already a little bit specified for each country. Yeah, so if I am importing big quantities of some beverages, and for my supplier in some country, it makes maybe economical reason to make a special label for Lithuania, because they need Lithuanian text on the label about product content, about something else. Yeah, so it is not a problem for them to also make this. If they make for Lithuania label in, let's say, Spain product anyway, so for them to make it in the design, to add the design logo is not a problem. The same like for Lithuanian producer. We have to add this logo on the design, it's the same issue. If you are a very small importer and importing very few products, of course, probably producer, some foreign country will not be able to make special label, Lithuanian label for you, yes. What you are doing today, when there is maybe no deposit yet in your country, you are putting label with your local language text anyway, yes? So in future, after deposit system is introduced, you will have to put the same label because you still need to put label about product contents in your local language, and on the same label you will make it a little bit bigger and incorporate this deposit logo. So it is no additional maybe task for you, yes? You either labeling or not labeling, and if you're labeling, you just need to put a little bit bigger label just to have this deposit logo. Okay?
Thank you. And the second question is on the legal side. Is this just the law which regulates the entire system in Lithuania, or there are some legal acts under the law? For example, on the deposit fee and on the participation fee, is this what is mentioned in the law? Is it law that stipulates it? And if, for example, you decide in a few years to increase the deposit fee, does it mean you will have to go through the entire process of amendment of the law?
Yeah, so of course there is the main law for the deposit system, but also there are of course bylaws. And you mentioned the question about deposit value. It is not written in the law. It is in bylaws, and I think it's approved by Minister of Environment or even Prime Minister. I'm not sure at the moment. But legislation says what the deposit value is approved by later based on deposit maybe system administrator proposal. Yes, but yes. So there are of course bylaws, but and related to deposit change, value change, I think this instrument for the state to how. One of the instruments how to control the system, because maybe if you do it to some any reason the system collection rate drops to some, I don't know, to some very lower than acceptable levels, and it might be one of the obvious reasons is what it might be what deposit value is maybe too low already, because after 50 years maybe 10 euro cent is maybe not so much motivating, yes, because of inflation, etc. So yeah, so politicians and ministry can have impact what the system, again, boost motivation by increasing deposit value.
Okay, we have one more question in the audience, and actually two questions from people watching us online. So yeah, okay, we'll give some attention to the people watching us online. So one of the questions is, what main conditions are needed to create the deposit refund system in any country? Is Lithuania's example applicable anywhere?
I will start maybe from second question. Very, very simple question. Is applicable? Yes, it's applicable everywhere. And I need to say what Lithuanian deposit system is also not created from, it was not invented a wheel, it's not invented bicycle. We learned from our neighbor country Estonia. We try to very much maybe a lot of things to copy it, or adjusting to local specifics. Now recently Latvia, our neighbor country, was launching the system. Yes, so we also learning from us, we helping them, and we have very similar system. So it is possible to replicate it anywhere. What is needed is maybe, well, it is more difficult question, but yeah, so it's always says we need to do three things. Yes, only three things you need to have a system running in any country. Is first thing you need political will. Second thing you need political will. And third thing, you also need political will. Well, that's it. Yeah. So if there is political will, if you want, politicians want to make their country cleaner, if they want to make more value of this waste and make this recycled, etc., So all you need is just political will, and any country which had political will, it's always when industry understand what there is political will and that the system will be in place, they always want to take initiative and to implement in the best way, because we have, as I mentioned already, we have really direct, very strong motivation to have a system very well functioning, because we treat the system, producers and retailers treat the system as continuation or as an important part of their business. Okay?
Okay, we have one more question from the people watching us online. Nada from Morocco is asking, does the founding association include representatives of producers, distributors, and retailers? So who are involved in the process, basically?
Yeah, again, about ownership. So in different European countries, maybe a little bit different ownership structure. In Lithuania, we have 3 associations owning the system, and members of those associations are local producers, local importers, producers of water, producers of beer, producers of soft drinks, and retailers. But general rule, and in other countries can be directly, some companies could be shareholders, like, I don't know, very often biggest international companies like Coca-Cola, like Carlsberg really wants to be part or in the ownership or in the control of the system, because they are bigger, they're putting biggest volumes to the market and they want to be in control of efficiencies, etc. But the main rule is every time in Europe is industry involvement. Yes, so directly through association or directly in ownership, there are producers, importers, and also retailers. Because one aspect of this type of packaging recycling collection system, deposit system, how it's a little bit different again from a container system is what retailers are involved. Yes, because in this system, retailers have certain obligation. They have to collect bottles from consumers, so they are involved. And naturally, if you are involved, and you should be part of it.
Perfect. I see we still have a few questions online and a few questions here, but we will have time for a discussion and Q&A, so hopefully you won't run away and we can still ask a few more questions if we have later on in the conference. But for now, thank you very much, Mr. Varnas. And we will move on with our conference and program. Thank you very much. Still remaining on the same topic, so hopefully a few of the questions that you had in mind you can maybe ask Mr. Saulius. Saulius Galadauskas is the president of Lithuanian Brewers Association, and he will continue on the topic of Lithuania's deposit refund system. Mr. Saulius, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Brewers of Lithuania have always been environmentally conscious. Because we produce very organic product. It's from water, from barley, from yeast, microorganisms. So, and we really actually we may proudly say that a political will to establish, to run the DRS in Lithuania was far long ago, actually, always been, but industry was against it. It was easier to pretend, let's say, recovery of their packages, management of their packages through container system, which at that time didn't work that efficient. It improved, everything is improving, and currently Green Dot is doing really well and progressing, big deal. But the initiative that it's a time to go for deposit in Lithuania for beverage containers came from brewers, from Lithuanian Brewers Association, which unites major breweries. And saying that brewers are environmentally conscious, Dainius, the director of corporate affairs, Carlsberg Baltics, will tell about their initiatives, how they going green with the biggest brewery of Lithuania, Švyturys Utenos Alus. But now I would like to also bring one aspect. Gintaras mentioned in his presentation that Lithuania used to have deposits for refillable glass bottles, actually already from the Soviet past. And it was continuing and was voluntary system. And in Lithuania, about 80% of glass bottles are refillable. And voluntary buyback systems, buyback was voluntary and was operated everywhere, including supermarket chains. But at that time, brewers used to have only 5 types of bottles, 5 shapes of bottles. In 2004, the obligatory deposit system for returnable glass bottles was introduced by law, but only by end of 2006 we went operationally, started working, because it was very difficult to agree with the retailers on retail handling fee. Because the principle of voluntary buyback is meaning that shops, retailers were buying back empties, was manual, completely manual collection, was zero RVMs, were buying for the price established by them. For example, we had at that time Lithuanian money, and it was, for example, we were paying 15 Lithuanian cents per bottle for consumer. And we were selling it back to brewers for 25 Lithuanian cents. It was very good margin. And then obligatory system was introduced for refillables. The firm deposit value was established, fair for consumer, significant was 25 Lithuanian cents at that time, and it was like now VAT free. And it was very difficult to agree with the retailers on handling fee, how much we have to pay. By the way, Oscar's question was about the bylaws. In the law, there is stated that you asked how is, for example, for compensation for industry fee, is it regulated by law? Yes, it is regulated that industry has obligation to finance the system, nothing else more. And it's actually not regulated by bylaws, by minister orders, anything. But and the handling fee, retail handling fee, it's also in the law. It is said that producers have to compensate the cost. It's important, the cost of the handling, the collection, sorting, and so on. And it's not then regulated. It's just said that it has to be. Then economy, the commercial, because the company, like Deposit System Administrator, is run like a private company, just it's non-profit company. Then, like, market equalizes everything, market solves it. Negotiations, fair price establishment, and so on. So it was very difficult at that time to agree on the compensation, like for retailers handling fee, because we used to have very big margin, almost 100% margin taking each bottle, and we didn't pay that. Finally, we agreed, and we're working. And we are 7 breweries participating in the system, and only in 2016, Coca-Cola joined with VRGB. And we started, when we launched the system, we had 240 million bottles, 240 million bottles in refillable bottles in the market. But it was inconvenient because other packages, PET and cans, consumers should not pay deposit, should not keep them, should not bring them back. And sales, beer sales in deposit bottles was shrinking and shrinking and shrinking until we introduced obligatory deposit system for one-way packaging. And it is complicated, became very complicated because now currently we have 32 shapes of different bottles, but it's manageable. And for consumer, we merged collection with one-way packages. It's still, according to the law, it's two different systems. USAD, USAID, Deposit System Administrator, and DESA, Deposit System Administrator for refillables. It's regulated from competition perspective, that each bottle doesn't subsidize, bottles doesn't subsidize each other. And also, there is a different cash flow and a bottle flow from producers to retailers, counting center, but for consumers, it's one. The same RVM, or if it's manual, the same collection point, and consumer doesn't see any difference. Although we have different trademark, and also it's must be registered in Gintaras company all barcodes, and consumer brings it and gets money back the same. Then it goes directly from the shop back to producers, and the money vice versa. For example, if non-redeemed deposit stays with one-way packaging deposit administrator. In our case, unredeemed deposit stays with producer. And benefits from cooperation, much more convenient for consumers, same collection points, the same price. Consumers even don't know that there are two DRS systems. They don't know even that. No more discrimination on RGB inconvenience. All beer packaging now is with deposit. RGB sales shrinking trend has flattened and even recovering. If you would look here, this is forecast, but currently we have 11% plus. So I make the forecast, it's 60, so even recovering. So, and you know, the green policy is saying 3R. Hierarchy of packaging management. Refuse, reuse, and then recycle. So reuse of bottles was encouraged by, let's say, improved by introducing a deposit system for one-way packages. It's win-win. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We do have to move on with our program just to stay at least a bit on schedule. So if you don't mind, Mr. Saulius, maybe we'll have questions later on during the Q&A session. Hopefully you'll stay with us for a bit. And then of course we'll have a coffee break. So if anybody has questions here live, you can always find Saulius and ask the question directly. So moving on forward, we have the topic of accelerating PET or PET circularity, and we will turn on the innovation solutions in the plastic value chain, and we'll discuss that. So about this topic speaking, we have Justina Volchak from NEO Group, specializing in PET procurement and sales, to share her expertise. So let's give a warm welcome to Justina.
Thank you for introducing me, and sorry for my voice. Luckily it came back. I was shouting too much on those who are not sorting and collecting their waste. It's the reason. Briefly, what I will talk about today. So first of all, plastics in general, what are the business challenges and how we can transform them into opportunities. NEO Group achievements in PET recycling, and of course, what we can do all together. I will start my presentation from current situation in plastics. Last year, global plastics consumption and also production was growing by 3.4%. But at the same time, European plastics production declined by more than 8% compared to 2022, which means that European share of the global market has further declined by 12%, including, for the first time, there was decrease also in mechanical recycling plastics. What does it mean for us? Decreasing European competitiveness means danger for circular transition. Plastics are essential for the European economy. They are in our daily applications in almost every sector, including healthcare, automotive, construction, renewables, consumer goods, and of course, packaging, with bottles having 5% share only. Shift to higher import volumes is a danger for the European plastics value chain, which currently supports more than 1.5 million jobs across almost 22,000 companies and generates more than 365 billion in turnover each year. So Europe risks losing its leadership in sustainable plastics innovation, including economic and environmental benefits which plastics brings for us. As you all know, PET, virgin PET is produced from naphtha and natural gas. And if plastic is later not collected and not sorted, it goes to landfill and burning. And it means linear economy. One of our main and biggest projects now is transforming from linear plastics economy to a circular plastics economy, which means we have to switch from fossil-based feedstock to materials where waste is used as a main raw material. Theoretically, it's possible because plastics collection and recycling is already developed broadly, but practically, collection and sorting numbers are still too low to make PET plastic production fully circular, of course, in effective and in cost-efficient way. And if some volumes of bottle-grade secondary raw materials will go to other non-food applications, which is called downcycling, then for bottle production we will have even lower volumes. So, as you see, we have challenges and room for improvement also in Europe. Current collection of plastic bottles is not sufficient enough, but even from currently recovered 58% of PET waste, back to PET bottles and other packaging goes only less than 24%. Because quality of recycled material is still not good enough to use it in food contact packaging again. How we can change it? Countries face different challenges and require different solutions. One-size-fits-all solution will not work here, so we should carefully analyze each region's situation. I will go through steps how we can change it. So for all recycled plastic users, step one and best solution would be simplifying packaging design. In terms of design, following points are taken into account. So packaging should be homogeneous. I mean, it should be produced from one type of material. For example, if it's PET, it should be only PET without any additional layers from other types of plastic or other materials in general. Priority for clear and non-colored packaging. as less additives in packaging, as easier, cheaper, and of course with lower energy consumption, it can be recycled. So packaging is much more greener. Only those plastics which collection and recycling is developed should be used in production. And one more important thing, packaging design should help consumer to empty packaging. As you see, some packaging design steps can be easily and quickly achieved, but others require more efforts from designers, converters, and production equipment manufacturers. Step 2, collection. Today, recycled PET raw material is already significantly more expensive. Sometimes it's 50% more expensive than the virgin raw material, which is produced from petroleum products. And the main reason for this is that collection of this plastic is too small. Today, on average, about 58% of all PET packaging is collected. And Lithuania, with the introduced deposit system, is among the leaders in collection. Around 92, or like someone mentioned, 91% rate. Although the countries of Southern Europe are significantly still far behind, according to the Single-Use Plastics Directive, every country will have to collect 90% of plastic waste by 2030. So all countries will have to develop infrastructure that will allow them to achieve their collection goals. Let's not forget that this also means large investments, which was mentioned yesterday, and time. So in short-term future, we should put efforts to consumer education. We should encourage them to participate not only in deposit collection, but also in active and responsible home sorting. Why separate collection is an important recycling tool is clear from the statistics on this slide. On the left, a mixed waste collection system, when people do not separate household and municipal waste, then 59% of this waste is burned due to high pollution. 37% of this waste ends up in landfills, and only less than 4% are recycled. Meanwhile, thanks to separate collection systems, almost 50% is recycled after sorting. So the recyclability of plastic waste collected through separate system is 13 times higher. We are glad that people in Lithuania understand the necessity of waste sorting, but today we still have some problems. For example, containers for separate waste collection are sometimes far away from houses, and if mixed waste container is closer, consumer, of course, will sort less. Step 4, quality of secondary materials. Recycling in the plastic industry is traditionally moving around two technologies, so mechanical recycling and closed-loop recycling. But as you can see, feedstock for mechanical recycling technology is limited to only clean and homogeneous PET, which is coming from bottle stream. And there are other new chemical recycling technologies which can use much broader range of raw materials and which are breaking down bottles and other packaging waste into their building blocks, so into the initial materials which are used in PET production. So what we need to do, we need to develop further advanced recycling technologies because purification level in case of chemical recycling technologies is much better than mechanical recycling. Step 5, legislation. It has main role to play in defining the rules of the game and, of course, pushing for changes. Regulations and policymakers should have harmonized goal of stimulating demand for circularity. But at the same time, we need to remember that policy and plastic markets are fragmented and different countries have different challenges, depending on available waste management infrastructure and, of course, depending on development level of this infrastructure. So we need to avoid, first of all, quick and centralized decisions for all countries, which can have possible negative environmental consequences, like downcycling or consumers choosing other not sustainable packaging options, which collection, sorting, or recycling is still not developed. And also, another important point, regulations need to support each supply chain members, including consumers. For example, by banning greenwashing on packaging labels. We should also remember that value chain will work only if all participants will have the same interest and will work together reaching goals. We must understand that in this case, the interests of one participant, consumer, are different. If we look at the definition of consumer, it sounds like someone who buys goods or services for personal use. And there is no obligation to look for a trash bin and no obligation to sort. So if we want circularity in plastics, we must involve and motivate consumers. By reducing complexity of the value chain and making everything convenient for each supply chain member, we will create these conditions for sorting, for recycling, and avoiding waste. In Lithuania this year, Packaging Waste Association Žaliasis Taškas started active campaign of consumer educating by showing advertisement on TV about importance of correct sorting. Also another example in capital city Vilnius, where we are here today, residents of Vilnius can receive for free sorting bins and bags for food waste, which for sure motivates them to sort more and not only plastics, but also food waste and other. Let's move to our company, who we are, what we do, and which supply chain part we are covering. Company started its activities in 2004, basically as chemical company producing PET resin, which is a raw material for food and beverage packaging production. PET plastic, which we produce, is fully recyclable and has the lowest CO2 footprint in plastics category. We are one of the biggest PET producers in Europe. Also, our group is among 5 largest manufacturing companies in Lithuania and biggest exporters in Lithuania. In 2011, we started new activity, processing of PET waste, which is coming directly from our production process into aromatic polyester polyols, which are used in polyurethane industry. So, for example, for macroflex sandwich panels. So, exactly 13 years ago, we made first step in recycling activities, because polyol is produced by chemical recycling of PET lamps, which means giving second life for the plastics waste and of course saving virgin raw materials instead. What is worth to mention, before we were selling and utilizing these lamps. In 2017, we were involved in chemical recycling project on developing of different methods for plastic waste reprocessing back to their feedstocks. In 2020, we started production of PET with 15% of secondary recycled PET. Later, 25%, and after 2 years, 30% of recycled PET. In 2022, this technology of Neopat cycle of the product was patented. What is worth to mention, technology was created by our chemists, our engineers, and this granted patent for our technology confirms its uniqueness, also confirms competencies of our team members, and also proves that material is truly offering something new for the market. Briefly about our invented recycling process. So flakes from collected bottles are recycled. Later they are purified and added into our main PET production line. Final product is virgin quality PET with recycled content, which can be used again in bottle and food packaging production. So we are switching 30% from fossil-based raw materials to secondary raw materials. Moving from theory to practice, feedstock for Neopat cycle production are clear PET bottle flakes. So same material which is used by plastic converters as raw material for PET films and for preforms production. But in practice, it's not so clear and clean. On the picture, you can see filtration results. These are removed high-density non-PET materials from the polymerized flakes. So if someone is using flakes directly, generally these contaminations are staying there because they are not unfiltered. So difference in conventional flakes injection process and Neopat cycle process is filtration in low temperature, which means that in case of our technology, we can purify material from non-PET components, which you can see on the picture, and which in case of standard process are passing filters and contaminating standard polymer. Current Neo Group recycling technology capacity is 154,000 tons, of circular product with 30% of secondary raw material, which means that we need 47,000 tons of flakes from PET, post-consumer plastics bottles, and almost 70,000 tons of collected bottles. To compare, in Lithuania deposit system, last year there were collected only 11,000 tons of bottles, which means that for our annual production we need 6 times more feedstock. So all collected PET from 6 Lithuania-sized countries with really high collection rate. Let's move to conclusions. First of all, trash is not a waste but valuable material. To accelerate PET circularity, all plastics value chain members have to be on the same boat, of course, with the same goals. What we should do together, bring to the market only those plastics which are functional and easy to recycle at the end of their life. Secondary raw materials should be the priority for all. Also, we should develop and invest in innovations. We should raise public awareness and cooperate with stakeholders to overcome knowledge gaps. Thanks for your attention. If you have any question, if we have time, then feel free to ask.
We have time for one quick question from the audience here, if anybody has a question. Perfect. That means we can talk a bit more during the coffee break if anybody has questions, or hopefully you'll stay for the discussion and then we can talk a bit more. So moving on, now we will cover the topic of Green Dot, which was mentioned during Justina's... Okay, that's good. During Justina's presentation, she already mentioned the Green Dot, an initiative that has played a pivotal role in waste management. Quick change, sorry. So Green Dot, they have played a pivotal role in waste management and recycling practices in Lithuania. So to share their experience and expertise, I invite to the stage Almantas Kybartas, Director General of the Green Dot. So let's dive into this topic. Sir Kybartas, the stage is yours.
Hello, everybody. I am Almantas Kybartas, Director of Green Dot. In Lithuanian language is Žalesis taškas, quite difficult pronunciation. I started to work in Green Dot 1.5 years ago. First of all, like a consultant, and now I am general manager. I can't drive the car from the back of the car, and now I'm driving in front of car. So Green Dot is non-profit entity founded in 2003 by 24 leading Lithuanian producers and importers. Its main aim is the establishment of the extended producer's responsibility principle across the industry within the country. Žalesis taškas is the first such organization established in Lithuania and has been operating for now 22 years. Of course, in this time was many changes. Many directors try to fix the best way of working. Now I'm trying to do this myself. Žalesis taškas is a member of Pro-Europe, an international umbrella organizations currently unifying 31 national producers' responsibility systems engaged in the selective collection and recycling of packaging waste. The structure and governance of the organization, the interests of the business sector are represented at the highest level by the stakeholders and board of Žalesis taškas. The board of Žalesis taškas reviews and approves the organization's governance structure, staff position, business strategy, business plans, and financial business plan. The board consists of the 8 members elected from the stakeholders and serves a 4-year term. Board members are elected during stakeholders meeting and the board elects its chair from among its members. Of course, this organization is working and acting because we have extended producers' responsibility in Europe. Without this law, without this politician decision, this organization can't work and don't need at all. And so manufacturers and importers who release goods packaged in single-use packages to the Lithuanian market must also ensure proper management of those packages. Manufacturers and importers must participate in the packaging waste management system. Choose an organization responsibility for the proper management of the packaging waste and cover the cost of packaging waste management. In Lithuania, there is, in this moment, 2 organizations. It's Green Dot and Future of the Nature, Gamtos Ateitis. We sharing 60 Green Dot and approximately 40 of Gamtos Ateitis. 2 years ago, there was 3 organizations. One of them now is bankrupted. So what is the role of packaging waste management organizations in Lithuania? We have to development infrastructure. We funding for packaging waste collection from residents, selection of waste sorters and financing of sorting, ensuring waste recycling and implementation of recycling tasks for our members, implementation of the annual education program. We have to spend 3% of our turnover for education, and this is our one of the goals. This system working now 22 years, and of course there was many changes, many goals and challenges, and today we have a situation which I will explain why I think there is such not very good situation. We have to do more. We have in our recycling bin, in our bin for packaging, I call it like that. But in Lithuania and government and Ministry of Environmental calling this bins like recyclable material bin. A little bit different meaning about what we try to collect. And for this reason, we have 36% non-packaging in this recyclable bin, 10% of recyclable waste, but not the recyclable material, and 45 in average, 54 in average packaging waste. In my opinion, I have this meaning that why this happening? Because there are no uniform sorting rules across the country, which causes difficulties in educating residents on a national scale. We have 60 municipalities, some of them educating and doing by themselves. And in this reason, we have this misunderstanding between recyclable material and packaging waste. And sometimes we see on the bins writing just plastic waste or glass waste. And this is compromising this system. What we have more, very unreachable, very difficult tasks for producers and importers. From 2025, we have taxes for packaging 100%, for PET, plastic and combined packaging. It means that if you will reach, for example, 80% of recovery, recycling tasks, it means that you, for those 20%, you will have paid taxes. It means that unreachable 100% tasks now we have in Lithuania. So, limited recycling options for plastic packaging. We have small packaging, less than 6 centimeters length and width. We can't reach it from our recycling and sorting machines. Packaging should be empty. Sometimes they have some liquids or not well emptied. A few colors as possibility. For example, we can't sort black color. It's difficult. And of course, we can't sort or recycle if it's combined plastic or combined packaging. It's mono material plastic packaging only. And packaging without composite parts. So the results of like a financial view year by year. In 2020, it was 1 ton of waste, what we finding in recycled bins. It's with collection and sorting and recycling. Cost was to 280. Yeah, until 2022, we managed it because the collection of packaging waste from municipalities was organizing by organizations by themselves. And from 2023, by Lithuanian government and Ministry of Environmental was decision to give it to municipalities to organize this stage of recycling process. It means that 60 municipalities, they doing tenders, and after that, they after these tenders, some collectors or waste management companies starting to collect and to bring this material to our sorting companies. And we see that in 2023 we have big jump of increase of value of this process, 430, and in 2024 we have, because it's was processed step by step, and now it's totally ending, and we have 541 euro. This is the result of decisions. So that situation, we working. We Green Dot collected 115,000 tons of packaging material. In 2023, we reached all government goals. We're working well, and we're trying to, how to say, to survive in this municipality, government, and producers and importers interest ocean. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kybartas. We have a time for one quick question. I think everybody is excited for a bit of a break, a quick break where you can ask Mr. Kybartas any questions if they have. And again, we will have a quick Q&A session at the end, so hopefully if you have any questions, you can ask them. Thank you very much. And now we will move to a 10-minute coffee break for those joining us here live, and for those watching us online, we will be back in 10 minutes to continue with our program. See you soon.
Man parašys, paprašiau, tai aš parašysiu tau.
Gerai, gerai, tai jau tada. Kavos pertrauką.
Pasiruošęs jau nuo
Labai gerai. Iš tiesų buvau tvarumo darėm vieną, tvarumo strategiją vienai įmonei. Pavyzdys realizavo išsikeltus tikslus ir strategiją. Labai įdomu panagrinėti. Gal pradedam. Okay, welcome back everyone. Welcome back to those joining us live. Welcome back to those here in Vilnius. We continue with our program and I won't do any long introductions because I think the next presenter will have way more interesting things to say than I will. So our next speaker is Dainius Smailys, Director for Corporate Affairs for Baltics at Carlsberg Group. Mr. Smailys will share Carlsberg Group's vision and efforts in achieving zero waste. So please join me in welcoming him here, and the stage is yours.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm Dainius Smailys, Director Corporate Affairs Baltics. Carlsberg Group is third biggest brewer in the world. And together I very briefly try to introduce you to our ESG program, Together Towards Zero and Beyond. Okay, to have this program in one sentence, it's Together Towards Zero and Beyond is a program in which we raise our ambitions to address the environmental, social, and governance topics that are most important to our business and to society. And society is being the most important word in this sentence, of course. So it consists of 6 main areas. And the first area, zero carbon footprint, being the most important, because in this area is coded the ultimate goal of the whole program is to achieve net zero in the whole value chain of the product by 2040. So when we talk about the value chain, we talk about the whole cycle of our products, starting from farming, from grains, from barley, and ending by having the consumer the beer in hand. That's why we call it a beer in hand chain of the CO2 emissions. And in this zero carbon footprint chapter of the strategy, we have, of course, the smaller goals to have by 2030 zero carbon emissions at our breweries, 30% reduction in beer in hand carbon footprint. This is what we want to achieve, 30% reduction at least in 5 years to come. And all renewable electricity must come from new assets. That means that we have power purchase agreements or solar or wind electricity, not using this old type electricity intakes from water power plants somewhere in Norway or Latvia or even Lithuania. And starting the strategy, of course, is from zero farming footprint. And the ultimate goal in 2040 is to have 100% of all our raw materials to be from regenerative agricultural practices and sustainably sourced. And by 2030, of course, we want to achieve that 30% of our raw materials to be from regenerative agricultural practices and sustainably sourced. The second chapter is what this conference is all about, and I will try to talk it later a little bit more in details, is zero packaging waste. Zero packaging waste, of course, we tell that we have zero CO2 emissions in our packaging waste. Sorry for... we are having zero CO2 emissions in our packaging waste, and by 2030 and by 2030, so 5 years left, we want to have 100% of recyclable, reusable or renewable packaging, 90% collection and recycling rate for bottles and cans. I just remind you that it's the global strategy and global program. And for example, some parts of it in Lithuania are already done. Let's say we can make it done here because of the well-functioning returnable system, deposit system. So, but for other countries, let's say it's a worldwide group, we have presence in China, in Vietnam, India, and so on. For them, of course, to have this 90% of collection and recycling rate is some kind of a dream. So, but anyway, we want to achieve that, and this is the goal for 2030 in our group. And 50% of reduction of virgin fossil-based plastics intake, 50% recycled content in bottles and cans. This is for packaging chapter. For zero water waste chapter, of course, we want to achieve this water usage efficiency at 2 hectoliter per hectoliter globally and 1.7 hectoliter per hectoliter at breweries in high-risk areas. This is not maybe most important chapter for Lithuania and Baltics. We have plenty of water even falling from the sky when we don't want it. But again, talking about India and some areas in China, it's very, very important topic. To measure it, 10 years ago we had 4 hectoliters per hectoliter of product. So it's really, now it's around 3 hectoliters per hectoliter globally. So it means it's really we have to put a lot of efforts to achieve that numbers. And 100% replenishment of water consumption at breweries at high-risk areas means that it's a closed loop of water usage in the breweries in some parts of India, China, and some other areas where all the water is cleaned, purified, and then used again for the, not of course for the product, but for the production where we have a lot of usage of this water. Zero irresponsible drinking, of course, it's a chapter where we address the society concerns as an alcohol producer. So we need those responsible drinking messaging for 100% of our packaging and brand activations, 100% our markets run partnerships to support responsible consumptions, 100% availability of alcohol-free brews at the point of sales where we're selling alcohol products, and 35% of our brews globally should be low alcohol or alcohol-free. Now we have 10-12% global figures, so it's also we need to expand our non-alcohol products free time, so it's really a tough task. And of course, last but most important maybe for our people, our employees, by 2030 we need to have zero lost time accident. That means no accidents in our breweries around the world through all the year. So it's also very tough task to achieve. And let's talk a little bit about this main chapter, how we want to achieve this zero carbon emission across our entire value chain by 2040. Main points: decarbonizing our breweries by decarbonizing the thermal energy usage throughout converting our boilers from using natural gas to using renewable thermal fuels or electrification, which we already did in Utena Brewery in Lithuania. And from 2019, Utena Brewery is a carbon-free brewery in production because we are taking electricity from our solar power plant, and the steam which we use for energy, steam is made from biofuel, and even those 2% of gas which were used to burn the biofuel, we demanded that the provider of that steam, Utena municipality, have changed it from the natural gas to biogas. So it's really 100% of the decarbonized the energy for the brewery. And of course, this was the second brewery in the whole Carlsberg group to have this. So of course now we have, it's almost 6 years past, so we have more breweries doing it after us. Ensuring that any additional renewable electricity we consume comes from on-site renewable electricity generation or is produced through power purchase agreements. That's the point I said earlier, that we don't want to have electricity from all type, although we can call it renewable because it's in water power plants, but it's all type which basically not corresponds to our requirements. And a little bit more about decarbonizing the whole value chain by ensuring our agricultural raw materials should be cultivated using regenerative agricultural practices which improve the ability of soils to capture and store carbon naturally. This is about the agriculture chapter. Our packaging systems should be fully circular and their production is decarbonized. Our short-distance transport vehicles should be electrified, while our long-distance vehicles should be powered by renewable fuels. And our cooling equipment, which is also have quite a significant energy intake in stores, should be increasingly efficient and powered by renewable electricity. So that's the main points of the very large, big, and explicit program, which if I would have to explain for you in details, we can talk for 2 days non-stop, basically. So let's come closer to the matter of this conference, and let's talk a little bit about the packaging and how we're going to address it. So you can see the whole CO2 emission line from the agriculture to beer in hand. And this is the attribution of how every part of the process corresponds to CO2 emission in our production line. So, and we can see that packaging, why it's so important. Packaging is the biggest chunk of CO2 emission in the whole, okay. Yeah, exactly. Packaging is the biggest chunk of the whole CO2 emission in the whole line, and we cannot achieve zero without dealing very hard with those emissions coming from packaging. And down the line you can see the progress change versus, it is the data of 2022 versus 2015, what we achieved in 7 years. And this is the data for the whole group, including China's, India's, Canada's, and so on, so on. So now let's take a look how we're going to achieve that. So in our program, there are quite important steps together with the researchers. We want to design and design our packaging so it contributes to the circular economy, increasing the use of packaging from responsible bio-based sources, we mean paper and something like that. We have designed the paper bottle, but it's, of course, it's a kind of, you know, to have some creative and out-of-box ideas for the generation of future stuff. Introducing alternatives to fossil fuel-based plastics in our packaging portfolio, supporting efficient deposit return schemes across our markets, which we have very well functioning in Lithuania and the whole Baltic countries, increasing the amount of times our large share of reusable bottles are used in their lifetime. We have the returnable glass bottle, and we can source it from our suppliers to break after 5 cycles, or we can source it from our suppliers to break after 12 cycles of usage and filling. And the CO2 emission, of course, will be 100% different from those 2 cases, although it is the returnable glass bottle itself. So that's the point of this chapter. And working with our suppliers to increase the recycled content in our packaging materials. Now let's take a look closer in geography to our Baltic results. And you can see that numbers are a little bit different, but nevertheless, the packaging is taking the biggest chunk of our beer in hand CO2 emissions in the Baltic states. But the downline, it's very different from the group. You can see that the reduction, overall reduction in CO2 emissions, we managed to decrease by 34%, and regarding to packaging, we managed to decrease by 36% instead of 2% talking about the whole group. So now we will try to now I will try to show how we managed to do it in Lithuania, which we have even more better reduction of 47% of CO2 emissions per hectoliter of packaging. So you can see how it comes to that minus 47. We reduced the CO2 intensity of CO2 per hectoliter of packaging type by 47%. And if to take a look at the different packaging types, you can see that, for example, in PET we have more than we have 2.5 times, in cans 2.4 times, in returnable glass bottles even 3.6 times, from 11 to 3 kilos of CO2 per hectoliter, and non-returnable glass bottles, which we cannot do much at our breweries, even those are minus 19%. So the question is how we just simply do it. And the answer, I try to simplify very much to have it in 3 points. So first point, responsible sourcing. Sustainability is one of the top criteria choosing a supplier. Basically, when you put that criteria in for your suppliers, you start the chain of changes in the whole circle, because you say, no, we don't choose your product because it's you issue very much CO2 in production of your glass bottles, for example, yeah, and we will choose different supplier. That triggers actions from the supplier, and he starts to think how he can reduce the CO2 emissions in his production. He starts to use biofuel, he starts to use renewable electricity, he thinks how to change some equipment to have this CO2 minimized, and so on. So that was a good example about the non-returnable glass bottles. We have nothing to do in our factories about it, but we managed to minimize it by 19%, just putting the additional requirements for our suppliers and starting those changes in their mindset, and of course, after that in their products. And the second point is integration of rPET. It's the one of the biggest part of our success, of course, because it's rPET gives us some CO2 reduction very much. I will talk about it in later in the slide, and also try to show you how we are reducing plastics in every single item we have in packaging, which is also important because it shows our mindset, how and what we want to achieve. So let's go to rPET. You just had a very explicit presentation how it is done, how it is collected and recycled. And we just want to show from the perspective from us as a producer of beverages. And we already decided that from next year, 2025, we will use 30% of rPET in our portfolio, because we were pioneers in Lithuania and Baltic states, and in some areas in the Central Europe already, introducing 100% of rPET bottle for some brands. Of course, it cannot be changed all the brands in once for 100%. It's not possible in that time, but it was a kind of experiment, and we succeeded to have this because it's very, how to say, it's a big work with our supplier to have this 100% rPET bottle, and to have it not different from the virgin PET bottle, without the haze, without some blurriness, without all those stuff which consumer then can reject basically our product in that. That was the main part of our worries, creating this together with suppliers. And also by introducing rPET, we have to work with the suppliers to have recyclability in those rPET, because it's easy to make rPET which is not recyclable. with all those resins inside, colors, artificial additives, which we used to have because it enhances the product quality. And to remember what we did some 20 or 15 years ago, we putting some barriers to PET just to have it a better quality and longer shelf life. Now we have to remove everything like that. So to have this rPET recyclable and environmental friendly like that. So it's really tasks for our engineers and for our suppliers to work together to make tests to see how they can do it less different from what we have now on shelf as much as possible. And yes, by introducing this rPET, we have 3 times less CO2 emission in PET material. And our goal, ultimate goal, is to have this closed loop of the PET bottle, which would become PET if lakes, then PET bottle again. And that would give us possibility to save a huge amount of CO2 by simply having it this inside loop. So that is the ultimate goal of doing, and we can see from the presentations that we can achieve that. Really we can do. Just we need to put some efforts. And that is the third point. By talking that what we are doing, we're trying to reduce the plastic as much as possible in anything of plastic we have in our brewery, basically. So if you take a look at the PET preforms, so we're trying to do it 10 years approximately, and in some preforms we managed to reduce the plastic by 40%. It is also quite a hard task because every time you skip some half of the gram of the plastic, you have to put it on the production, and you have to put the test for the consumers. Do they see the difference? Will it possibly even stand this bottle on the table, because we can reduce it as very much, but then it simply you will open and that it will fall on the side because it's too thin walls and so on. So it's constant tests, constant developing the products and the shapes and everything. Corks, again, even from corks we can take 15% of plastics by just simply changing the designs and then making it of less of the plastic. Plastic film, which we use for wrapping up the cradles in the warehouses and on the way to the shops. Of course, we need to have it less, and we need to have it stronger, and we need to have some other suppliers maybe to change them to have it simply less usage, because it's a really nasty plastic which we have to give up someday, but at the moment we don't have any technology to how to say to have it such a firm material to transport the cradles to the shops. But we try to get rid of that as much as possible. rPET, you can see it gives us the biggest reduction in plastic in tons. This slide is not about CO2 emissions, it's about the tons which we use in everyday life. By introducing this 30% for the whole portfolio and 100% for some brands. And this shrink wrap film, which is used for packaging of, it's a nice film which we use for packaging of 6, for example, or 4 cans and bottles into one piece at the sales point. So this also can be changed into our shrink film. So that, and overall, in 10 years to compare 2015 versus 2025, we next year will use almost 500 tons of plastic less in our production by retaining the same, of course, production levels. Not that our production shrinked, it is on the same level, but we can use 500 tons less plastic. And of course, that will increase year after year by increasing this RPAT. You can see that it gives the biggest chunk in our savings. So, thank you. It was a very brief presentation, of course, and you can always find more at carlsberggroup.com, where is the Carlsberg ESG report, explicit report with all those figures and even more is placed. And thank you for your attention. If you have any questions.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Smailis. We have time for one quick question. Yes, I see there's one hand raised. Our colleague will bring you the microphone. 1 second. I think it's on. I think you can use it.
Hello, thank you very much for such a comprehensive presentation. I come from Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We are working with development countries and try to spread the understanding, the knowledge that we have to be responsible in every day of our life and doing things, thinking about future. Your company is international. And we see very good results and very comprehensive strategy you have in dealing with these matters. Maybe you have knowledge of how your company deals in countries like India, for example, in solving the same matters of reducing plastic and in all steps of the production of your goods.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for your question. Basically, as you can see this last slide, I mentioned it in purpose, because yes, this program is not only for the Western Europe or Central Europe or for the Baltics. This program is for the whole group, which is present in India, Nepal, China, Vietnam, Laos, and many other countries which are in the developing world. But they have the same goals, like I presented for you. They have the same goals like we do here, like the colleagues in Western Europe. And basically, of course, for them, those goals are sky high. If to compare with the situation what they have currently in their markets. But we do encourage the setting the high goals, because it all triggers the process. Maybe they will not achieve because of if they don't have the governmental support, for example, by achieving this 90% of returnable plastic packages. Of course, for them it would be almost impossible, let's say, to have it in China. Yeah, such a waste market with such a big production and PET usage. But at least they will do the most what they can do to achieve that. And with some, we can see examples that, for example, in the closer markets around Europe, in South Europe, where they do lack those packaging returnable systems, they are very much in the front lines of establishing those, and then asking for myself and our Baltic colleagues how it is working, how they can push this process forward. So I think it will come into the developing countries also. The people, I believe that we are not alone in the world with such strategies. There will be some other companies who will have those high goals, and they together we will, let's say, we will change the world.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer and the questions. We do have to move on with the program, but again, if you have any questions, perhaps during the lunch break, you can meet Mr. Smiglis and talk to him in more detail. Thank you very much. Now, our next session focuses on transforming waste into valuable resources. No PET left behind is the way the Green Group is tackling the plastic recycling challenge. And after yesterday's field visit, I hope some of you were yesterday joining us during the field visit to the premises of the factory, we are even more eager to hear more about their goals and ideas. So please welcome Konstantin Damov joining us online, chairman of the Green Group, as he takes us through innovative approaches to waste transformation. And also, Mr. Damov is also a president of Circular Economy Coalition in Romania. He was just re-elected last week. So congratulations on that, Mr. Konstantin. And now the stage is yours.
Thank you. Good morning and labas ritas, dear friends. I'm sorry not being able to be present there, but I promise next meeting I will do that. I think it's a very, very interesting debate, and I'm trying to contribute myself with a little bit of value, hoping that what I will present to you today is for your interest and for the interest of the purpose of this conference. Well, my name is Konstantin Damov. I'm a co-founder of Green Group, and I'm in this business of recycling, celebrating 28 years now. I've seen many things, and I'm seeing transformation of what we called before very simple recycling into what we call today circular economy. Things have been moving very fast, but I have to accept that the new trend of circular economy, sustainability, ESG, all these concepts have a risk to be too much debated. We have, I think, in the world, have been no concept having so much literature behind with such, unfortunately, such low achievements. And let's go to that. It's one of my favorite set of number when we speak about circularity, and we can speak in front of this slide probably 2 days. I'm trying to do this in 1 minute. Global circularity rate measured by the report called Circularity Gap is showing a circularity of 7.2% in 2023 in a continuous decreasing from 2019 was 9.1%. So there are not good news globally. EU circularity rate is still not very good. It used to be 13, now it's 11.8. And I was choosing from Eurostat also the circularity rate of Lithuania, 4.4%. Well, I'm talking to you from Romania. I didn't want to put our rate because it's below 2%, which is almost in the range of error. We are doing too little, but I'm also asking questions. What is the metric we are using? How we are measuring reusing? Other intervention we do before recycling, because recycling has a tendency to sequestrate a circularity. Of course, it's a strong pillar, but it's on the bottom. Circularity, it's addressing to refuse, repair, reuse, and then recycle. I would say even I'm a recycler, I have a feeling that in a circular model, we are almost the failure of circular economy. It's tough what I'm saying, but it's like that. We have to do a lot of efforts before. I was hearing before a very refreshing presentation about the beer, green beer, and it's a lot of efforts I've seen there, and it's fantastic to reduce the weight of the packaging, to redesign. Now, we have been introducing like going from waste to resource. Circularity actually is treating, there is no waste in circular economy. It's a economic model that there is creating no waste. Practically, it's regenerating the resource, and we are speaking resource to resource. Waste is just an object which is put in a wrong place. If will be put where is its place, it still stays as a resource. I'm finishing this introduction and I'm going to speak about Green Group, who we are. One of our addressed idea is the future belongs to those who can create a world of abundance by preserving resources. We know that we have a growing, unlimited, infinitum demands, material demands, in a limited planet. How can we do that if we are not creating a circularity? Circularity is creating an infinitum material starting from a very limited base, as it is the planet, the world. And I'm not an NGO, I'm an engineer trying to put together numbers, and it is like a formula. We are active across various waste segments as a recycler, PET, but also film polyolefin, HDPE, LDPE, LLDPE, so on, waste of electric and electronic equipment, lamps, batteries, glass packaging, and industrial waste. We are 22 years in recycling as a group, and we started at the time that the PET just appeared in this world. It was like arriving from another planet. Everybody was surprised, what is this material? And we have been the first one entering in recycling PET. Of course, there was no demand of our PET, and this is a just very recent approach of the brands. At that time and along the years, our PET was considered like something strange and avoided because it's creating lower quality of packaging. Today, I think we change mentalities, and our PET is much more demanded. We're a circular economy enable. We are fully integrated in circular economy value chain, and we can show this because we don't use any virgin raw material. 100% of our recycled input for production is from waste, as we call it, waste. We are very well aligned with ESG. We have been initiating, and we are the first company in Europe that we have been proven by recycling plastics that we decrease with 70% the CO2 footprint, and such reduction was recognized like CO2 certificates, voluntary certificates that we are giving to other companies today for the offset of their CO2 footprint. So we have a regional presence. Of course, we have been born in Romania, where we have most of the companies, but we are 1/3, we are Lithuanian today, investing in 3 companies. You visited yesterday Green Tech Baltic, but we have been also buying from a couple of years EXO, which is a polyolefin recycling company, and also Jalvaris, which is in fully development company dealing with industrial waste, hazardous waste, batteries, so on. In all our countries, we have been moving to 500,000 tons a year of a treated waste. And we have 11 companies, 9 recycling plants, and we are employing 2,300 plus today in our facilities. Let's go for PET recycling. PET, it's polyester terephthalate. What I will say, PET is not only bottles, but at the end of the presentation, you'll see it is present in a large range of application. Actually, it's recognized in the textile industry as a polyester that is very common for us in everything we use around us. Well, I will point here that GreenTech Baltic that you visited yesterday and USAD, the DRS system, very successful one in Europe, implemented in Lithuania, we have been creating a very successful plastic circularity. Actually, 2017, when there is not so much demand for PET and was not so big demand, we have been realizing, being one of the buyers of the PET collected in Lithuania, that there is a continuous source of supply, stable, high quality. And we realize it's pity to carry on by trucks to Romania, material, and the best decision is to move next to the resource. In reality, the golden rule in recycling is density and proximity. So we developed in the proximity of USAD Logistic Center our recycling plant that you have been visiting yesterday. And as a consequence, 100 of the PET collected by USAD is recycled in Lithuania. Transport between collection and the logistics center of USAD and recycler is zero. Practically, there is no CO2 emission involved in delivery of material to the recycler. We are practically neighbors. It's one fence that it's separating our yards. And I will say that USAD has a permanent holistic solution for all plastic bottles collected in a system given by a local recycling. USAD also has at any time the right to take back the recycled material to be used by Lithuanian producers, which means we accept that in a circular model, the recycler gives a first right or the right of first refusal to local industry to use the material recovered. And that is very important because that's a way to close the circle. Moving material somewhere else will mean a circular model with a very large radium, which will increase the CO2 footprint. And we recognize that in a circular model, recycling is becoming a service. It's not a trade. We don't make commerce. We don't buy and sell. We have to process in the name of producers and according to their demand. Well, in GreenTech Baltic, we have been, of course, you see two images here. Everything is 100% PET waste. But as I say, PET is not only what USAD is collecting, PET bottles. You see the bales on the left photo, but also PET trays. And I will add here also PET packaging, which doesn't belong to the system, like PET bottles for milk, yogurt, sauces, ketchup, other food that is not introduced in the DRS. PET from trays, it's increasing, and it's we receive it from a municipal sorting station, and we believe that can contribute even in producing of rPET to be returned for food grade with about 30% in the very near future. So we are looking for a larger base of resources that we can get from the local market. So what we do is a PET. Of course, everybody is very much excited today about our PET. We consider it closed loop. So we are producing rPET granules, not only clear like majority producer of rPET in Europe, but we are producing and we are controlling now the colors. So we can produce rPET in blue, green, and brown, making a very good test today, mainly for breweries, that they can always use brown and green in their recipes. We are also making non-food grade, normally from a material that it is floral color or a little bit of contamination or fines, very small pieces. That's why we say we don't leave any PET behind, because we are using this non-food grade for other application, increasing the ratio of recovering, moving very close to 98%. And in the portfolio of products, I will mention a couple of them, like a PET strap. It's a great alternative to steel strapping, and it's usually used to pack high residual force products for transport on pallets or anything that really needs a very strong strapping. This material is 100% recycled content, so there is no virgin content, like any other product the Green Group is producing. We also produce polyester staple fiber, which is made 100% from recycled PET. And this is a fantastic material because I will say, sometimes we say it's a closed loop, people speaking about downcycling. We don't have a definition of downcycling or upcycling. Everything is recycling at the end. We need to have a long conversation about that. But I would consider this like a little bit of upcycling, because engineering of such a product, having like a diameter of 1 micron and having a hole inside, being hollow section, it's really a very high engineering effort. And it's a good solution for material that cannot go bottle to bottle. Well, what is next? A part of what I was presenting you above, like bringing the other bottles, other packaging, trays of PET, polyester textile are in front of us, and we, in our vision, we need to recover the polyester fiber. Is that possible? Yes, we have been already doing tests, and we are dedicating more to mechanical recycling. Is a lot of debate about the chemical recycling. Even today, I've seen something. We believe that the two ways of recycling, mechanical and chemical, they should work together in the near future. It's a lot to be recovered. Since you remember in the first slide, our circularity worldwide, it's below 10%. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, I'm here to respond to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Konstantin. can hear the applause. We do have time for one question. I saw there aren't really questions online, so perhaps somebody from the audience. Yeah, I can see one hand raised over here. Wait.
Thank you. As I represent the Ministry of Economy of Azerbaijan, my question will be more of regulatory nature, if you like. When we were speaking earlier today about the DRS and the key for success of the DRS in any country, the speaker mentioned political will, and again, the political will. So when looking at your presentation, at the beginning of your presentation, and the figures on circular economy, on average of 11% in European Union, 4% in Lithuania, and around 2% in Romania, and looking at you as the champion of the recycling business based in Romania and originating in Romania, the natural question is, why 2%? And would that be okay to say that it's again back to the political will? And political will and the political will. Thank you.
What a great question.
I love this question, and I have to say that we don't have a metric. What we produce in Romania as a fiber, for example, we are the largest recycled polyesteric fiber. It's in Europe. We are addressing this, for example, to automotive industry in Germany, in France, Italy, so on. The question mark is, if we export 95% of this fiber, where is counted the circularity? In the place where people are using or in the country generating? Because the figures are not matching. And there is also the ethical approach, because we have been told by Netherlands, guys, we are the champions in Europe because we reach like a 30% circularity. I say, okay, is it enough? Let's look from other perspective. Today we speak that we are consuming 1.6 planet a year. But Netherlands is consuming 5 planets a year. And if you make only, I believe every one of us should consume 1 planet a year, so we are fine. We are sustainable at the limit. I say 30% is not enough, my friends, in Netherlands, because you are saving out of 5 planets, probably 1.5, 2 planets. What do we do with the rest of 3 planets, which is twice about the average? So the way of interpreting figures and statistics, it's very tricky. We need a common and very simple metric, which we don't have it yet.
Thank you for the answer. Do we have more questions from the audience? No, I see.
Please.
No, at the moment. Thank you. Very good answer. Very good question. Very insightful presentation. Hopefully our paths will cross again in the future on this topic. Thank you very much, Mr. Konstantin. We will let you go now, and we will continue with our program with the last, but definitely not the least, speaker, Jonas Ramoshka, accredited Recyclass auditor worldwide at EcoGrant. Mr. Ramoshka will discuss how the packaging and packaging waste regulation is transforming waste into valuable raw material source. So let's welcome Mr. Ramoshka. The stage is yours.
Hello, everybody. Hello. It's a very big pleasure to be here and summarize our session. I'm Jonas Ramoshka, 20 years of experience in production, sorting, collecting and recycling plastic packaging. Let me be here today as a Recyclass auditor and represent company EcoGrant, which is one of 9 certification body accredited in the Europe Union. What is Recyclass? First of all, Recyclass focused only to the plastic industry. Second, Recyclass has accredited certification schemes and methodologies to cover all circularity processes of a plastic. And the third one, these methodologies and certification schemes are based on the science and experiences of members. Members are the biggest brand owners, producers of packaging, also producers of raw material, and with support of many of associations. Packaging waste regulation. Life is a game. Business is a game. Circularity is a game too. And game is alive till rules exist and till players are keeping these rules. So rules have changed. It is quite limited time to go deeper to all these things, and just would like to touch some important points and going through exactly examples. This year in October, a lot of recyclers who is producing PET granules for food contact would like to be certified. And what's happened? Let's go to explain the situation. In 2019, Directive for Single-Use Plastics was presented to the market with states. 25% of content must be recycled in PET beverage bottles by 2025 and 30% in 2030. So it was introduced 5 years ago. In 2022, we got new regulation regarding recycled materials used in the items intended to be in contact with food. By this regulation, plastic waste originates from materials and articles manufactured by rules of food contact materials. This plastic waste should be collected separately, and it can be deposit return systems or systems who is collecting packaging separately. And moreover, all these should be proved by third-party auditors, what all this waste collected separately, all this waste from food contact items, and transparency and traceability exist. What happened with recyclers? We hear some of businesses here, and here what, let's say in green tech, it's not enough quantity what they are getting from USAT as a deposit system. We hear another business, Neo Group, it's not enough material. And business is about to do money. So a lot of PET material is coming from third countries. Who doesn't have deposit return systems and cannot be proven as suitable for food contact. So that is the challenges, and I would say market is not prepared. Still 5 years passed. I would like to go through this new regulation, which is just upcoming, and goals is reducing packaging waste, increasing circularity, and what is important, a single legal framework across the European Union. We also discussed it a little bit with Almontas from Žaliasis taškas, what user, customer is biggest actor in this scheme, but he needs to know, he needs all packaging to be marked. He needs to be sure where to put this packaging, to do this right sorting from what everything starting. And regulation means what it will goes to directly to national legalization, and it is very important to have same marking, same collecting bins, everything the same in all Europe. I will touch just few important things. From 2030, all packaging must be recyclable. And in all packaging must be used some content of recycled materials. So about recyclability. There is 3 classes of recyclable packaging. Rest is non-recyclable. And still, today we have in Lithuania black or white, is recyclable or not. It's not so easy to answer why all definitions will be legally presented, but I would say that Recyclass already has the system in place, already has recyclability of plastic packaging certification, which can prove what your packaging is recyclable and in what scale. And as you see, it depends from many factors, starting from materials, labels, colors, easy to empty index, which was explained previously by another speakers. Moreover, from 2023, will be evaluation of infrastructure, ability to collect, to sort and to recycle different streams of packaging and recycle it at scale. Good news, what already today companies can check recyclability of their plastic packaging. There is a free online tool in the website of Recyclass. But still, it is just indication. Finally you will get some statement what possible your packaging have recyclability class, some or not recyclable, but to be recognized as a certificate, it should be done by independent auditors. So certification is needed. The same with recycled material content in the packaging. Previously, example shows how it is quite difficult to be prepared to have this share of recycled content, even in bottles, who is the biggest part of plastic packaging, not only in Lithuania. But by this regulation coming also rules, mandatory share of recycled content in different packaging, including food contact. And for food contact is very important about streams, how it is collected. And will it be suitable for food contact in the next stages? Also will be some deposit targets, which Lithuania already achieved. And finally, I would say what support is here. Recyclas has developed all schemes, which is advanced one, and actually with PPWR we see just copy-paste from this methodology. They have evaluation of recyclability, proving of recycled content in the plastic packaging. Also, what is important is certification of recycling process. And in case you need our help, please contact us, our contacts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jonas. Do we have questions regarding this presentation? Yes.
Yeah, the same question about the batteries. Is there any recycling rates and collection rates to grow up about the batteries collection back and recycling also?
Sorry, as I mentioned it, Recyclas is focused just to the plastic sector. We as a certification body also focusing just to the plastic sector. So we are not comment on different things.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any more questions? No, I see not at the moment, so thank you very much. And although we are running a bit late on time, I remember that we had a few questions unanswered during previous presentations. So now I give the floor to you to ask any questions if you have for other speakers in today's program. So any questions? No, doesn't seem like it. So I think we can move on with the closing remarks of today's conference. And to give a speech, I invite Dainius Kazlauskas, Deputy Director of the Environmental Project Management Agency, to give closing remarks for the conference. Dainius, the stage is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed speakers and distinguished guests, as we come to the conclusion of our conference, I would like to thank each of you invaluable contribution over the past 2 days. Especially I want to thank Rugile for perfect moderation of this conference. Please go with the applause. And Rasa and her team for organization of it. So it's a perfect and huge job what you provided to organize this, and we appreciate it, and thank you, thank you, thank you. Yesterday we began by situating our thought with a global and European framework with insight from the OECD and the European Commission highlighting the critical role of international policies and combating plastic pollution and driving sustainable waste management. Today's discussions have built upon yesterday's momentum, diving deeper into the practical and innovative solutions that are transforming waste management and driving us toward the circular economy. We began the day with a deep look at Lithuanian's Deposit Refund System, which not only demonstrated the structural successes of its implementation, but also highlighted its impact on fostering behavioral changes among citizens. And as we have had, only 3 things are needed for the DRS systems, and it's political will, political will, political will. The presentation that followed, accelerating pet circularity through innovative solutions, as presented by NEO Group to Carlsberg Group's inspiring vision of working together towards zero. We have seen how business are leading the charge in sustainable practices. Also, we heard about Lithuanian journey in packaging, waste management, and the lessons learned along the way. These insights, coupled with examples from Green Group on turning waste into resources and discussions on the implication of new packaging waste regulations, remind us of the shared responsibility we hold in redefining waste as valuable resource. As we close, I would like to reflect on the unifying themes of the conference: collaboration. Whether thought, innovative partnership, international cooperation, or the exchange of the best practices, it is clear that our strength lies in working together. From Moldova's approach to plastic reduction presented by Ms. Justina Grigoravičienė to broader international cooperation, we emphasized the benefits and ways of sharing best practices from EU instruments such as TAIEX and twinning projects. 20 years ago, Lithuania joined the European Union, and we are proud to share our relatively recent experience of adapting to the EU acquis, as well as implementing and managing environmental projects. So thank you once again to all our speakers and participants who have joined us both physically and online from Azerbaijan, Moldova, Serbia, Turkey, Armenia, Mongolia, Tajikistan, Morocco, India, Palestine, Indonesia, and even Latvia, and also diplomats of your active engagement. Together we have laid the groundwork for future collaborations and co-creation, the more sustainable future together. So safe travel to our guests, and may we meet again with even more successful to share. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the beautiful speech, and I will also extend a heartfelt thanks to all of the speakers and organizers of the conference that made this event very interesting, very insightful, and useful for everyone, hopefully. So now I would like to say thank you and goodbye to those watching us online. Hopefully you've learned a lot, gained a lot of knowledge, and was inspired to do the change in your home countries. And to those staying us here live at the conference, I will invite you all to the lunch break, which will last until 1:30 p.m. And then we will go to the field trip to Vilnius Combined Heat and Power Plant. So wait at the lobby by the Christmas tree, and we will collect all of you, and we can travel to the heat plant and learn a bit more. So thank you everyone watching online. Hopefully we'll see you sometime soon. And thank you to everyone participating, and have the nice rest of the day. Thank you.